When you're wanting to control the level of shine on a surface, you'll be using the specular color swatch and directly below that, the specular highlights. Let's show you how that works. Why don't we first here use a little of a darker color. We'll go to our diffuse. Why don't we make this maybe a blue? We'll then copy that over to the ambient, and then we'll darken that up. Now, if you look at the sample sphere, you'll notice that there's no shine on the surface whatsoever. One might think all I simply have to do is now control the color of the specular color swatch and there's going to be a change. Well, that's not the case. The actual controls for the amount of shine and the strength of the shine are going to be contained under the specular highlights. Now, this is how this works. The strength of your shine is controlled by the specular level. So if we grab the spinner to the right and gradually move it up, you're noticing you're getting more and more shine now showing on that blue ball. Notice as the specular level goes higher, the strength of the shine continues to increase. Now, what is not changing in this particular instance is the size of the shine. That's controlled directly below that by the glossiness. So if we take the glossiness number and we go up, notice the size of the shine actually gets a little bit smaller. Now, as you're working your controls, I want you to take note of the bell-shaped curve to the right-hand side of the spec highlight controls. It's that bell-shaped curve, if you know how to read it correctly, that'll determine what you're actually getting in your shiny areas. See, here's how it works. The height of the curve is actually the strength of your shine. So if I take the specular level down, you'll notice the curve starts to drop as far as its overall height. And in doing so, you can see the strength of the shine on the sample ball has been diminished. Let's go back and take that back up a little more. Look at the bottom of the curve. Its width from side to side. That thickness, if you would, controls the overall size of the shine. With the wider it gets on the bottom, the wider the shine will be on the surface that you're creating. Now, this one's controlled by the glossiness. Now, watch what happens. If I lower the glossiness, in other words, taking out some of the shine, look what's happening. The spot of shine is actually growing in size. You see, the shinier this surface is, the smaller the specular highlights will be. Watch what happens as an alternative if I take the glossiness and I go up. See how the thickness of the curve is getting a little thinner at the bottom? Also resulting in the size of the shine on the sample ball getting a little bit more like a pinpoint. So you can see how these two controls kind of work in unison with each other to control not just the strength, but the size of the shine. What the specular highlight actually controls is merely the color of that shine. So let's go ahead and make that a little bit bigger by dropping down the glossiness. And on this blue surface, why don't I go ahead and click on the spec color swatch, and if I change this to maybe red, well, you can see how that affects the overall shiny area of the surface. We'll go ahead and reset that to take it back to white. So there you go with a little bit of shine. You can see that the color is controlled by the specular color swatch, and the strength and the size of that shine drops right down below in the specular highlights.